This new moon in Leo is different than usual. The new moon in Leo happens once a year, but this year it's extra special because this new moon is interacting with 4 retrograde planets. This is unusual and really an awesome opportunity. So let's talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and mark the new moon on this chart. My hope is that if you are studying astrology, that these marks help you. And if you just want to listen to the astrology, you can do that as well. My intention is always for this to work for everyone, wherever you are in your study of astrology. So this is our new moon. When the moon meets up with the sun, we have a new moon, and that's happening here in Leo, very, very early degrees of Leo. And a new moon is always a new start. It carries that energy. And the sun rules Leo. So a new moon in Leo I feel like any kind of transit with Leo, we shine. We shine with these Leo transits. So this new moon can have us feeling bold and brave, more confident. It's a very creative new moon. We can be feeling creative. We can be feeling a little dramatic. Sometimes Leo carries that signature as well. And there's something sort of lovely and self-protective about the energy as well. Leo knows how to take care of themselves. Um, and so it's good to keep in mind that we may be feeling this way at this time and that others might too. And so we're eager for what's new and what's opening up. And we're feeling bold and brave and creative and dramatic and ready to go. But we have these 4 retrograde planets to talk about: Mercury, Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune. So those are sort of adding to this signature in a way that makes it really more interesting. More interesting, let's put it that way. Adds depth and complexity to this signature. So first, let's talk about the trine to Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn and Neptune are also in the early degrees of their sign. They're in the early degrees of Aries. So we have this fire sign trine here. It's a lot of fire in the sky, more with that boldness and that energy. But Saturn and Neptune are retrograde. So they're turning inward. The energy of these planets is sort of going within right now. It's something that we're processing rather than sort of putting out into the world. So, Saturn and Neptune together here. They've been together for a few months and they will stay that way into the beginning of 2026. They'll retrograde together into Pisces and then come back into Aries together. It's really quite remarkable. And they're really bringing in the dream. There's a lot that I could say about this, but I think the most important thing that should be said about it is that they're bringing in a new dream. Saturn grounds and makes things real and practical and takes responsibility and has a plan and it tells us how, helps us with the how of doing things and the discipline and all of that, the structure, the foundation. And then Neptune breaks through what we thought were the limits previously and brings us out further than we thought we could go. Neptune is the dream. Neptune is the fantasy, spirituality, expansion. And so these two coming together could be a little bit interesting, right? They have very different energies, but they're really supporting each other because Saturn is changing Neptune and Neptune is changing Saturn. They're it's like we have this dream and we're able to ground it in actual reality. So there's a part of our lives right now where we might really be working on something of a new dream, something of a new plan, a new way of being, a new idea, a new part of life that's more important than it used to be. And this may have been building for a while, maybe for 6 months, maybe for a year or a year and a half. And now with these planets retrograde, we're sort of going back over it and rethinking and making sure that the plan that we have is stable and making sure that we're doing what it is we really want to do and being sure that it's being done honestly and with integrity and that we like the people that we're doing it with. So this retrograde time, we're really sort of rethinking this new mission, this new world, this new something that we've been building lately. And at the time of this lunation, which is really the dominant transit of the week, for sure, we're building to it. All these different aspects come online as the sun moves into Leo, and it just kind of opens up this whole transit. And as that happens, it's shining a light on this. It's shining a light on not just this dream that we've been building, this new beginning that we've been building, but it's shining a light on where it needs to be more stable, the plan, where we need to have more integrity, what the new mission really is. You know, it's sort of illuminating all of that. It's helping us to understand it a little bit better from within. From within. It's more of a contemplative thing. It's not necessarily something happening out in the world. This is a very internal energy. As we're grappling with this new start, this week we might find ourselves feeling that bold, brave, dramatic, creative, ready to go, know how to take care of yourself, excited to assert your own dream. We might be feeling that energy. And then also Saturn and Neptune are sort of reminding us to that strength is almost, I think, helping to illuminate the need for us to go back over this new dream that we're building, this new world that we're building, the new mission that we're working on, and shore up the foundations as we get moving ahead. Okay, so I also want to talk about the Pluto opposition. So this is another aspect that is a part of our new moon that's coming in right now. So we have Pluto here in Aquarius, retrograde, of course, because everything we're talking about today is retrograde. So much internal energy. Don't be afraid of retrogrades. Retrogrades aren't bad. I actually have a video on my channel about not fearing retrogrades. Mercury retrograde has given them sort of a bit of a bad rap, but you know, it's really about going within. It's about that energy working from the inside rather than from the outside. During retrogrades, we take what's happened in the world and we sit with it. We work on it. We think about it. We process. And in that processing, we allow that to speak to us too, right? We don't want to just go through the world and sort of like react and respond to what happens. We want to be the governing body of our life and our decisions and our experience. And retrogrades really help us to do that because we go back, we go within, and we process and we consider what's happened and we integrate it. So there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I think the reason why it can be a bit of a challenge is that it can be harder to kind of move forward when really what you need to be doing is doing that processing. And our world is very into moving forward, making things happen, you know, keep going. And a retrograde energy does kind of slow down in that sense. So they can be challenging in different ways, but just to say, retrograde energy in and of itself, not a bad thing. So we have this opposition to Pluto. as well, which is sort of adding intensity and depth to this experience. So sort of just taking everything I just said about all this work that we're doing and adding an element of intensity. It sort of intensifies the whole situation for good or bad, right? It's not about whether it's intensifying the joy and the positive feelings or the difficulties or the challenges. It just kind of adds depth to the whole experience. Um, Pluto can also be about old things sort of being dug up, things coming to the surface that we haven't really thought about for a while. Maybe we even forgot about them. Maybe we even buried them and put them away and felt like we were done with them. But Pluto is sort of like, nope, this is here. You actually have to deal with this. You can't just act like it's not here. So, secrets can kind of come to the surface, is a word you hear with Pluto quite a lot. And also power dynamics can sometimes surface when Pluto is involved. So this adds a really interesting signature to the week, right? Where there's also that energy, keeping in mind that Pluto is also retrograde. So we're processing where we're ready. Pluto is marking an area where we're ready for real change. There's so much about this new era right now. Let me actually just kind of add in here this outer planet triangle. Very, very important right now. Let me actually mark a little bit more with that just to make it that much more clear. Okay, so we have this outer planet triangle involving Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn's there with Neptune right now, and Pluto. And this triangle holds all summer, all summer. Some of these planets are retrograde, as we just discussed. Neptune and Pluto are both retrograde. They're going to go back into their old signs, and that's going to break up this triangle. But eventually, this is going to come back together later in 2026 and be something that we hold for quite a while. So what this says to me, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place. It's just so interesting. It's so interesting. Early degrees. Look at all these early degrees. 2 degrees, 1 degree, 2 degrees, 0 degrees, 2 degrees, right? Everything's at these early degrees of the sign, including these outer planets, which are really slow to shift. We have outer planets changing signs in 2024, 2025, and 2026. And then they're going to stay put for years and years, in some cases, decades. So that's why we are in the shift here. We are entering into a little bit of a new era in the collective, in the world. And we can feel this around us. Things are changing. Technology is changing. Pluto in Aquarius can relate to that. The speed of information, the way that we connect with each other, being together yet being apart. There's sort of this, like, in some ways there's a deeper connection. Humanity is more connected, and in some ways they're more separate. And isn't that so true? And that's really the signature of Pluto and Aquarius. So as the personal planets and the sun and moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, these planets that really affect our individual lives, as they move through the chart, which they do much more quickly than these outer planets, and they connect with this triangle, it moves us personally, our own personal experiences, sort of forward and into this new era. So that's really what this new moon is connecting with, is that energy. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of point that out as well. I also want to talk about, and it's sort of hiding here behind the sun and moon, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Mercury. Mercury is retrograde right now. Mercury is retrograde in Leo and will be until August 11th. And so there are so many different ways that this can show up, But because, well, first I should say that Mercury is retrograde entirely through the sign of Leo. And this new moon obviously is connecting with this Mercury too, right? Connecting with Saturn and Neptune, connecting with Pluto, connecting with Mercury, all retrograde. Mercury retrograde this time around is entirely in the sign of Leo. So this can bring up themes around our authenticity. Are we being really authentic? Are we sharing our voice in a way that's really honest? Are we being honest with ourselves about what we want? Are we being honest about our own desires? It can also sort of shine a light on confidence. And some of these themes, especially in a life area, wherever Leo is, or if you have planets there as well, um, wherever that is, that could be a life area where this was going on. And when Mars was here, it might have been kind of challenged. When we had Mars retrograde through this house and sign in the winter, and really it was the late spring, early fall as well, it could have challenged our feelings of motivation and confidence and courage. And so now this Mercury retrograde is almost clearing all of that up. You know, we're having a chance to sort of clear up any drama that might have surfaced in the past. I know Mercury retrograde is not usually about clearing things up, but this one is a little different because of that Mars retrograde. So it's a chance to sort of rework anything that may have come up during the Mars retrograde and heal any of those problems, clear up communication or confusion. We can revisit old creative projects with an aspect like this. There could be some technology stalls. There could be sort of some leadership stalls. You know, if there's something that you're supposed to be doing that really involves a lot of authority and sort of shining your light in that way, it could be delayed during this time, but it just gives you a chance to hone what it is you're doing. So kind of putting all of this together, you see this new moon is really unique, and it is really the dominant signature of this week. We're building up to it. The new moon is on the 24th, and then you know, a lot of these aspects come into play once the sun moves into Leo, so we're really feeling it all week. And then once the new moon is over, we have a couple days with the moon still there. So normally I do these reports twice a week, but I did this one for the whole week because really this is the energy of the entire week. So that just leaves a little space maybe for us to do something else. Maybe I'll come back on and do a different kind of video or just get these August horoscopes up for you. I'm seeing different questions here in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely check out your horoscope on my channel for July and for August. Right now I'm working on August. They're about halfway done. Best viewed for your rising sign. That has a lot more information about where all of this falls for you. And someone's asking about how to contact me. The easiest way right now is through through the comments here, or to book a reading, you can go to my website, which is astrologywithgina.com, the same as this channel, Astrology with Gina, and that's astrologywithgina.com. And I just appreciate you all being here so much. I've really enjoyed building this channel. I'm still enjoying building it. And I will be back on Monday, if not sooner. Look out for those horoscopes going up now. Okay, I'm going to connect to some other astrology videos that are relevant right now here at the end. Be sure to check those out too. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great week.